Hello. Welcome back to Ultra Keller Real Estate. As always, thank you to everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. Everything is appreciated. All the DMs I've been getting. To get right into this one, when you're a landlord, make sure that you text your tenants when possible. So when you're having a back and forth conversation about something, if you can, text. And I'll tell you why, because if you're talking about something where you need to document what you said to them and what they said back to you, you have a paper trail, or at least a electronic paper trail about what you guys talked about. I just had that happen just recently as an earlier today, and it reminded me to talk about this, on the video. The tenant said she told Section 8 one thing and I told her something else, and I didn't give her the keys to the apartment, when clearly I could show a text message thread of the day that we met up and when I gave her the keys, so I can verify to the Section 8 worker, no, what the tenant said isn't correct, because I can show you through text that I told her we were meeting this day, and you can see back and forth in the exchange that we met that day, because on the next day she asked me something about the house because she was already living in it. So trust me, there are some conversations sometimes it may be easier to have them in person. Maybe sometimes a lot of things have to be said, blah blah blah, but if you can, text. It gives you verification for what they said, and vice versa. So I always recommend that, because you realize when dealing with this, dealing with tenants, for the most part, at least in my personal experience, it really has been bad. It really hasn't at all. If you're an employee or an employer, and you're used to either managing people, or you're a co-worker used to dealing with other co-workers, or you're an employee and you have to deal with the people who work for you, being a landlord, it really isn't that much different than that. Having to get along with people, and so I always just tell people, no different than how in the 9-to-5 world, how you email certain things back and forth to each other and you make sure people acknowledge that they received a certain message. No different than when you're dealing with your tenants, make sure they acknowledge that they received the text, and you can even acknowledge that you received it back, so they know. It just covers your tracks. It makes everything so much easier. All right, so I have more tidbits later on, more tips, more things I've thought about as that I've done as a landlord, and things that you can do too as an investor and a landlord as well too. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you find me at Ultra Kellon Real Estate. That's ULTRAKELLON. And then on Instagram, make sure you find me on YouTube. Same thing, Ultra Kellon Real Estate. All right, till next time, guys.